And here on our news, it says legendary trader Peter Brandt is bullish on XRP. And our news source is from Times Tabloid. Now, what if I told you that one of the most stubborn skeptics in financial history, a man who has spent years calling crypto traders easy to bait, just went on a live broadcast and said XRP is probably the absolute best? Your jaw would hit the floor, right? Well, that is exactly what happened, and it has sent shockwaves through the entire global digital asset community. We are looking at a complete shift in our narrative today. A veteran market voice right here who usually treats alternative digital assets like radioactive waste just named his top picks for real world dominance. And the result has left even the show's host completely speechless. Is this the moment the entire global payment structure pivots? Or is there a hidden warning inside this massive endorsement that everyone else is completely ignoring? So let's look at the facts. But before that, let's check XRP's chart right here and its current market price. So we can see the current market price is now playing at 1.77 USDT. And here on our chart, we can see here that XRP is consolidating between our major resistance right here at 1.2234 and minor support, which is 1.0897. And based on my analysis, the bearish momentum it started to weaken. So my analysis for the price movement of XRP these following days is that it is likely to continue consolidate between our major resistance right here and minor support right here. But there is a very high chance that our minor support here at 1.0897 will be broken, and XRP will continue to fall or trend downward and hit this next major support at 1.0169. Right? Now, let's go back to our news and answer the very first question about why did a decades-long skeptic suddenly pivot to XRP? The shockwave started when a prominent analyst on X highlighted a clip from a recent interview on Crypto Banter. In this live interview, the veteran market voice was asked which network stands the best chance of achieving lasting, widespread transactional relevance. His response was immediate. XRP probably is the best. The host actually had to stop and ask him to repeat it because nobody expected that answer from a guy who has spent 5 decades managing traditional financial risk. So, in my personal opinion, I find this turn of events absolutely fascinating. This isn't your typical social media influencer trying to pump a coin for a quick profit. This is a disciplined chartist who has historically taken massive jobs at the community, once calling them the most stubbornly obsessed permanent bulls on earth. For him to step out and look past the noise to acknowledge the architecture of the ledger tells me one thing. The focus of the market is shifting heavily away from speculative hype and entirely toward structural survival. Right? Now, what does it mean to bet on a horse to become transactional? So let's just highlight this part. If you had a bet on a horse to become transactional, it would probably be XRP, Solana, Brandt said. Right? When asked to clarify his statement, the analyst used a classic racetrack analog. He explained that if you had to place your money on a specific horse to win the actual utility race and achieve true transactional relevance, the list is incredibly short. He named XRP alongside Solana and Ethereum. But here is the catch that makes his assessment incredibly unique. He added that most of the other projects in the market are ultimately going to end up as a complete junk. Right? Most of them are going to end up junk. In my personal opinion, this is where my perspective as a market observer aligns perfectly with a long-term strategic view. The broader market is saturated with tokens that do absolutely nothing but create noise. But when you look at actual movement, like liquidity pools, settlement speeds, and institutional pathways, the list of viable networks shrinks down to a handful. XRP isn't trying to be a meme. It's designed to be an international financial highway. When a traditional market giant highlights practical utility over short-term price pumps, it changes how big money entities view the asset's longevity. All right? Now, how is the global community processing the shifts? The reactions across social media platforms on X were instant. Some commentators focused immediately on the psychological side of things, noting that enduring periods of low confidence and having your patience tested is exactly how long-term investing rewards disciplined players. Others pointed out that this specific market voice rarely hands out compliments without an absolute mountain of data backing it, meaning his words carry an entirely different level of weight than his standard market commentary. So my take on the community's reaction here is all about validation. For years, observers of the asset have been told that utility doesn't matter and that only retail hype drives the chart. But seeing traditional finance veterans slowly come around to the idea that transactional utility is the only thing that saves an asset from ending up as a junk proves that the patient approach is often the smartest one. When a respected outside voice confirms what utility-driven observers have seen all along, it changes the sentiment floor from fear to firm foundation. Right. Now, as an ultimate conclusion, we are witnessing a very clear separation between the projects that exist for entertainment and the projects that exist for enterprise infrastructure. The endorsement from such a respected market analyst isn't a guarantee of a vertical price pump tomorrow morning, but it is a massive piece of fundamental evidence that the utility narrative is winning the long game. The digital landscape is facing a harsh calling where only a few networks will survive to serve global transactions. By placing XRP at the very front of the survival pack based purely on real-world transactional capability, traditional finance is dropping a massive hint about where the future of liquidity is heading. So we need to keep our focus on this infrastructure, filter out the noise, and always watch where the smart money and veteran voices are looking. Alright, and this finally ends our video. Thank you very much for watching, and see you on the next one. Or you might just as well check this recommended video right here on our screen.